Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working together step by step through each of the ABRSM Theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download these in US letter or A4 to help you with every step of this series. There's a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time come exam day when you're actually working through your exam paper. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be fab, and subscribe to my channel and share the vid, that would be great. And now we're going to crack on with paper C of the 2018 grade 2 practice papers. So if you turn with me to page 11, we'll make a start on paper C. So this is the third exam session in the autumn of 2018, and I suggest that you work through these questions yourself. First of all, it's always a good idea. These past papers are a fab revision resource, and so it doesn't matter if you go wrong, just work in pencil and you can just rub it out if you're not quite there and have another go. You'll learn much more thoroughly that way. And so I hope that you've had a go of this, and now we'll work through these questions together. So question 1 asks us to add the time signature to each of these 5 examples. So we've got 5 separate time signatures to be thinking about here. The first job is to decide what we are counting in, what beat or unit we are counting in. And at a glance here, this bar perhaps tells us most easily that we're counting in crotchet beats or quarter notes, so our bottom number is going to be 4. And so we know that 4 semiquavers, 4 16th notes gives us a crotchet. And we've got a crotchet there, we've got 2 crotchet beats there, and you can see we've got 1 crotchet beat here, and half a crotchet beat and half a crotchet beat, and these 2 quavers or 8th notes gives us another one. So there we have 2 crotchet beats per bar. So 2 4 is the answer there. Alternatively, I suppose mathematically speaking, it wouldn't be incorrect to say 4 8, so that would also be acceptable if you decided to divide that into 4 quaver beats for 8th notes per bar. But 2 4 I think is the most obvious one there. So let's look at the next one. And so now here we've got to decide how many beats, but first of all we need to decide which unit beat, and I think this bar tells us most easily that we're counting in minim beats. So our bottom number is going to be 2 because we're counting in minim beats. That's a bit high up, isn't it? I've not left myself much room. Let's do that again. There we go. So let's see how many minim beats. This bar is perhaps the most easy. So 2 minims and a semibreve, or 2 half notes and a whole note. And then these 2 crotchets, these 2 quarter notes give us a minim or a half note. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3 minim beats per bar. Let's look here. We've got 1 minim beat here, of course. We've got 1 minim beat here plus half as much again. And that, with this crotchet here, they are both worth a crotchet, half of a minim beat, so those 2 together will give us a minim or a half note. So there we go, we can see 1 2 3 over 2 is the answer there. So then let's carry on. So I think again here we can see that we're going to be counting in crotchet beats or quarter notes. Don't let this triplet throw you. Remember, this just means 3 in the time of 2, so what we're actually counting there is 2 quaver beats, 2 8th notes. So here we can see we've got 1 crotchet beat there, we've got 1 crotchet beat there, and then this minim divides into 2 crotchet beats or 2 quarter notes there. So we're counting in 4, that's the first option, and we've got 1 2 3 4 beats per bar. Let's just see in this bar, we've got 1 beat here, 1 beat here, 4 semiquavers, 4 16th note gives us a crotchet, so we've got 1 beat here. We've got a quaver with a dot. Now if you've not so great at maths, let's just look at this, because I really aren't so great at maths. There's a crotchet beat or a quarter note. We'll divide it into quarters. we have a quaver here. So there's half a beat. The dot after that makes it half as long again. So that's a quarter of a beat. And then here we have the semiquaver, the 16th note, that gives us another quarter. So we can see that that makes a whole beat. We've got 3/4 and a quarter. So 1, 2, 3, 4/4. We'll do alternatively. There are a number of ways we could do this. We could say 4/4. 2/2 would also mathematically work out. That would be acceptable. And so you could therefore also say common time, or the à la brève, the split common time. So any one of those would be acceptable as an answer. Now this next one, this bar tells us pretty easily straight away that we're counting in quaver beats and eighth notes. Our bottom number is 8, because if we tried to count in anything else it wouldn't work, because if we tried to count in crotchet beats or quarter notes we'd have 1 1/2, and if we tried to count in minim beats there isn't enough to make a minim beat there, a half note. So we're counting in quaver beats and we've got 1, 2, 3 quaver beats, 1 quaver beat there, those 2 semiquavers make a quaver, 2 16th notes make an eighth note, there's a beat there, 1, 2, 3, so 3/8. That's pretty easy to spot. And then this last one, let's have a look again, and I think we can see straight away we're counting in crotchet beats again. Our bottom number is 4. So we have 2 semiquavers with a quaver, give us a whole beat. That's a crotchet beat if you want to just look at the breakdown of that. 2 semiquavers of a quarter of a beat each, and then half a beat shows us there, that's that beat completed. So we've got 1 crotchet beat there, same again, 1 crotchet beat there, and then 2 quavers, 2 eighth notes give us another crotchet beat. So that's 1, 2, 3/4, 1, 2, 3/4, 2 halves, 2 quavers give us a crotchet, 4 semiquavers give us a crotchet, and now we have a crotchet. So 3/4, there's no other alternative for that. It has to be 3/4. It can't be 6/8. That's another story entirely that isn't covered in this grade. It has to be 3/4 because you can see it's grouped in crotchet beats. So there we go. Let's have a look at the next one. So the next question, again, we're looking at time values. This time, however, we're given the time signature, but we're asked to add the correct rest or rests. That's the important point. Not just one rest will do necessarily. At the places marked with a little star to make these 2 melodies, each bar complete. So we've got 2 separate time signatures, so don't get tricked and presume it carries on with the same time signature. So we should have 3 quaver beats, 3 eighth notes per bar. So we've got 1 here, 1 quaver beat here, 1 eighth note here, 1 eighth note here. Now here we have a semiquaver or a 16th note which is worth half of an eighth note. So we need another one of these again to give us our full quaver beat for beat 3. And so we need a semiquaver rest. So there we go. These bars are complete. Now this one, you don't need to worry about adding up the maths. If you remember, a semibreve rest or a whole note rest is the shorthand, quick way of just saying a complete bars rest. So it just hangs off that 4th line. So technically that rest is too big for this time signature, but that's the accepted full bars rest. So we don't need to worry about counting. So that's easy peasy marks there. Now then, let's look at this next one. We should be counting 4 crotchet beats per bar, 4 quarter notes per bar. We have 1 beat here, we have 1 beat here, which means we've got 2 beats left. However, to show this in rest form, we can't just add a minim beat rest, because if you remember, the halfway part of a bar can't be beamed over, or a rest can't sort of straddle over that midpoint. So we can't do a minim beats rest. We have to do 2 separate crotchet beats rest, 2 quarter note rests, so that we're not crossing over that midpoint of 4/4 bar. And I think really it's just, I'm not entirely sure why, but it makes sense to me to think that it's because it's such a long bar, it can be quite a busy bar, we need to see each half of a bar, because we need to do everything we can to make sure the performer can keep an eye on what beat they're on. So that's how I think it makes sense, at least. So let's press on. So now we have this bar. So we have one beat here, one beat here. These two quavers, these two eighth notes give us a beat. We've got half a beat here in this quaver, this eighth note. So we have 1, 2, 3 and a half. We have half a beat left. And so we need just a quaver or an eighth note rest. Now here we have 2 beats. So we have again this scenario where we have 2 beats left to fill in. However, this time we can see that we're not over the halfway part. We can just put a minim beats rest there. We don't have to split it into 2 individual beats. We can just show a minim beats rest or a half note rest there, sitting on the 3rd line. And the way I remember these 2 rests, it's easy to get confused. The 4 beat rest hangs off the 4th line. So that's a way of remembering that one, whereas the 2 beat rest just sits on the middle for a couple of beats. There we go. So that's that question completed. We'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope that's helpful to you. If you can give me a like, that would be really fab. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. Please do share the videos. And also, please also have a look around my website. Go to sharonbale.com and see all the information and resource that's available to help you there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.